Most men aren't taught how to move with women. Not truly. They piece it together from music videos, half-true stories, worn-out myths about conquest and winning. So they chase what they want, desperate for approval. Or they try to buy affection, mistaking generosity for glue. They pour every unsolved wound into a woman's lap, hoping love will soothe it all. When it fails, they're confused. They think they chose wrong, or that all women are cold. They don't realize the real work was never about finding someone. It was about standing solid first. This isn't a sermon. It's not a high-value male checklist either. It's a calm look at the 9 mistakes most men make with women, the subtle ways they sabotage intimacy, and the deeper truth beneath it all. Because what stands in your way is rarely outside of you. It's the invisible shape of your fears, and until you see them clearly, you'll keep repeating the same quiet tragedy. Most men are addicts, but they call it ransom. The chase, the texting first, the endless mental rewrites of what you should have said. You tell yourself it's normal. That desire should burn like this. But the truth is uglier. You're chasing not because she's extraordinary, but because somewhere you learned wanting means worth. That if she finally says yes, it proves something about you. And wanting does strange things to a man. It makes you ignore her disinterest, inflate scraps of attention into epic signals, swallow small humiliations like pills. You start performing, reshaping jokes, opinions, entire evenings just to be more digestible. And you don't even see the irony. The more you twist to fit her, the less there is for her to actually want. Because no one desires desperation. It's a scent in sweat, in frantic eyes, in how quickly you answer texts. And your chasing isn't charming. It's a quiet announcement that you don't value yourself enough to wait for mutual pursuit. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much time he gains who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks, but only at what he does himself." Stand still. If she's curious, let her approach. If she's not, don't make it a tragedy. Half of attraction is mystery, and there's no mystery in a man panting to be chosen. That's the part most never learn. It's not about becoming indifferent. It's about knowing your own worth, so fully that chasing feels absurd. She's not the prize. A calm, complete man is. And if she can't see that, someone else will. Men throw money at women, the same way gamblers throw chips at a table, hoping the payout will fix everything. Dinners that gleam with candlelight, tickets to places that look better on Instagram than in memory, surprise gifts designed to spike her dopamine. It works. For a minute. She laughs. She leans closer. You feel like a king. But underneath it's always the same question neither of you says out loud. What does this mean she owes me now? You think it's generosity, but it's often strategy. If you stripped away the meals and flowers, would she still reach for your hand? Or are you building a paper empire that burns the second the money or effort stops? Because love born of purchase isn't really love. It's attention you have to keep paying for. You become the man she associates with dinners, upgrades, a life just slightly shinier. And eventually someone else comes along with a bigger wallet or a fresher thrill. Now what? Seneca said it so clean it stings. You are scared of dying. And tell me, is the kind of life you lead really any different from being dead? The truth is, most men who overgive are terrified, afraid their own skin and words aren't enough, so they compensate with cards and plans and shiny distractions, hoping she never looks too closely at the actual man beneath. Be generous, but do it from overflow, not fear. Give her your ease, your laughter, your calm, gifts she can't buy herself. Because that's what stays when the night ends, when the money's spent, when it's just two people breathing in the same dark room. And if that's not enough for her, better to know now. There's a point in most men's lives when they find a woman who feels safe, who listens in that soft way, eyes steady, nodding, and it's like oxygen after years of holding your breath. So you start telling her everything. Childhood fractures, fears about money, about your father's failures living through you, the nights you wake up sweating because you're terrified of becoming invisible. It feels intimate, and it is, for a while. But something shifts when you offload every raw panic onto her lap. You don't notice it, but she does. The way desire cools when comfort becomes your main offering. The way her own fragile places get buried under the weight of having to hold you up. Because women want to be heard too, and they want to be turned on. It's hard to crave someone you're constantly triaging. Hard to feel electric with a man whose needs flood every quiet moment. Marcus Aurelius said it with that clean Roman finality. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. Your therapy is your job. Your nightmares are your responsibility to soothe. Tell her your stories, yes, but don't make her the medic patching up every psychic wound. That's not intimacy. That's outsourcing. And if you keep handing her your broken parts hoping she'll glue them back together, one day you'll look up and realize you're more patient than partner, more project than passion. And she's gone. Searching for someone who can stand upright on his own. Be a man who can sit with his own ghosts. Then invite her into the room, not to fix you, but simply to stay. It always starts so sweet. You try her favorite coffee, binge her shows, let her playlist score your long drives. It feels harmless, even romantic, your world expanding to fit hers. And slowly, without noticing, you become a curated echo of what you think she wants. You stop seeing your friends as much, stop hitting the gym the same way. You say you're busy, but deep down you're terrified that if you keep living like you did before, she'll realize she's not the center. So you pivot, minimize, shrink your own rituals, until the man you were is just background noise to her preferences. But here's the brutal truth. Nobody respects a chameleon for long. Because there's nothing magnetic in someone who molds to you completely. The friction of difference is what makes connection crackle. Two distinct lives, each stubbornly real, brushing against each other. That's where the pulse is. Nietzsche wrote it more savagely than most could stomach. He who cannot obey himself will be commanded. That is the nature of living creatures. And that's what happens when you disappear into her tastes, her calendar, her moods. You stop obeying yourself. You give up the very edges she was drawn to at the start. Eventually, she'll test it. Push a little, cross a line, see if you'll push back. Not because she wants conflict, but because she wants proof there's still a spine under all that softness. If you fail, desire withers, because it's hard to long for someone you also quietly pity. So keep your rituals, your books, your crew, your Saturday mornings. Love her fiercely, but as a man rooted in his own soil, not a vine twisting desperately around her branches. Most men flinch at a woman's tears, or rage, or sudden retreat into silence. They tense up, scan for exits, or worse, try to plaster over it with jokes and hollow reassurance. It's not malice. It's instinct. Because you were raised to see emotion, especially hers, as a crisis that needs fixing. Something to solve so the world stops wobbling. But it's also vanity in a strange shape. You assume it's yours to handle, your failure if she's upset, as if her inner weather patterns revolve around your orbit. Truth is, people, especially women, are complex, sometimes contradictory. They feel deeply. They spiral. They burn off dark moods and then come back softer, all without you lifting a single therapeutic finger. Epictetus said it with surgical calm. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. Most of her storms have nothing to do with you. Or they do, but not in a way your quick fixes can mend. She wants to be felt there, to watch your eyes stay clear and your breath stay even, while her own chest tightens. Not because it's your job to rescue her, but because your steadiness means she doesn't have to fear her own depths. When you try to rush her back to cheerful, you rob her of the dignity of her own process. When you get nervous, you teach her that big feelings aren't safe around you. So do the harder thing. Nothing. Sit there. Hold her hand. Or don't. Let her thunder pass through without barricading the doors. She'll trust you more for it. Want you more for it. Because she'll learn you can handle her truths, not just her bright surfaces. It's almost cruel how biology wires you. You meet a woman whose laugh hits that low part of your stomach, whose smile flickers with just enough invitation, and suddenly your brain is drugged. Testosterone climbs, dopamine surges, oxytocin teases you into thinking this might finally be the one. It's a chemical carnival, perfectly evolved to override your better judgment. Your ancestors needed it to ensure they paired off and propagated. You just swipe right and tumble headlong into illusions that feel holy. So you misread lust as love. You ignore the small irritations, the values you don't share, the warnings in how she treats waiters or talks about exes. You tell yourself none of it matters because you feel so alive. But desire is cheap. It's wired into you by billions of years of survival strategy. What matters is what's left when the bright spark burns down. Can you sit with her in ugly fluorescent light on a Tuesday? Will you still reach for her hand after your worst day? Or will the fantasy collapse because it was never about her soul? Just your hormones playing dress-up? Marcus Aurelius sliced through it best. Consider how fleeting and trivial is the whole of mortal life. Yesterday a drop of semen, tomorrow a handful of ashes. Spend, therefore, these fleeting moments on earth as nature leads you, and serenely accept the closure that follows. If you slow down, let the rush settle, you'll see more clearly. Watch how she moves through stress, how she speaks of people who can do nothing for her, how she carries her small failures. Because lust is blind, and it wants to stay blind. It'll whisper that it's enough, that your differences don't matter, that all love needs is passion. But love built on that alone is a paper mansion. The first real storm tears it apart. Better to take your time, even risk boredom. Because if something real is there, it'll still be glowing when the fever breaks. Men love to fix things. It's how you prove usefulness, how you make chaos orderly. So when she comes to you unraveling, family drama, old heartbreak, a career disappointment that scraped her raw, your first instinct is to jump in, offer solutions, reframe her story, promise it'll all be fine. Part of it is compassion, but another part is fear. Her pain makes you uncomfortable, so you rush to seal it off, patch the cracks, because you'd rather do anything than sit there with the unsolvable. But fixing her sends a quiet message that who she is right now isn't acceptable, that her messy chapters are problems to be handled, not weather to be shared. So, she learns to hide them, or worse, to resent you for turning her confessions into a home improvement project. Seneca wrote it in a line that outlives entire philosophies. Sometimes, even to live is an act of courage. You think your love might repair her, that if you pour enough care into her empty spaces, she'll be whole and grateful to you forever. But people only truly change when they're ready, and not a second before. If you keep trying, you'll wear yourself out, and she'll start to feel like your charity case, not your equal. Better to stand alongside her, offer a hand when she reaches, not before. Listen without diagnosis. Trust she's capable of wrestling her own shadows, because she is. And if she never grows, if she stays locked in patterns that poison your peace, then it's not your job to keep hammering away at her walls. It's your job to decide if you can live with who she is now, not who you hope she might become. Love isn't renovation. It's choosing someone, with their cracks, their beauty, their scars, and letting them choose you back, just as unfinished. Most men stay longer than they should, not out of love, but inertia, because leaving means tearing up the blueprint they built in their heads. The vacations, the kids, the future dinner parties where she'd laugh at your stories. It means admitting it didn't work, that you gambled your heart and lost. So you stay. Ignore the gut feeling that's grown heavy and permanent. Convince yourself her good days outweigh the slow erosion. Maybe she'll change. Maybe you'll adjust. Maybe time will smooth the sharp edges that keep cutting you. But every day you stay afraid to lose. You do lose. You lose tiny private joys. Lose hours you could have spent building something true elsewhere. Lose slices of yourself, trying to keep her happy, or at least keep her from leaving first. Marcus Aurelius put it stark and clean. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. It applies here too. If the relationship has twisted so you can't recognize your own voice, your own reflection, why keep echoing words you don't believe? Why perform a future you no longer want? Walking away isn't always loss. Sometimes it's the first honest act you've made in years. Sometimes it's a soft mercy, for both of you, to stop forcing what won't breathe. So have the courage to say, this is not enough. Not because she's worthless, but because you are not. Because life's cruel joke is how short it is, how fast it goes, how quickly your best chances slip by while you're busy hoping she'll become someone else. Let it end. Clear the space, and trust that even grief is cleaner than the constant rot of staying too long. It sounds selfish, and that's why most men avoid it. Because from the start, you've been taught that real love means sacrifice, putting her needs above yours, being the man who stays, who fixes, who protects, even at your own expense. But that's how you hollow yourself out. It starts small. You skip your gym days to make time for her. Let her decide the movie, the restaurant, the friends you keep. You drop projects, passions, little rituals that once centered you. At first it feels like devotion, but inch by inch, you become less a man and more an orbit, circling her moods, her plans, her dreams, until one day you wake up disoriented, unsure what you even like anymore, except her approval. Nietzsche cut right into it. No price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. Choosing yourself isn't abandoning her. It's refusing to abandon you. It's remembering that your time here is brutally short, that you're allowed to build a life that feeds you first, so you have something real to offer anyone else. Because a man who's rooted, who wakes up excited for his own day, who holds the line on his boundaries, is magnetic in a way that desperate pleasing never is. He's not waiting for her to complete him. He's inviting her into something already alive. If she fits, she fits. If not, you keep walking, still whole, still yourself. So go back to your weights, your books, your long solo drives with the music loud. Call your old friends. Sign up for something that terrifies you a little. Choose your pulse over her comfort. Because in the end, the greatest act of love, for her, for anyone, is showing up as a man who doesn't need to be rescued from his own emptiness. If some part of this sliced too close, good. That means there's something still raw enough to grow. None of this is about bitterness. It's about clarity, about cutting through the endless noise of what you think love should be and standing still long enough to see what it actually is. So stop chasing, stop fixing, stop selling pieces of your soul just to keep her around. Stand there, rooted, a man who knows his own depth so well he doesn't fear hers. Become who you are. Nietzsche. If you're ready to live like that, not for her, but for you, subscribe. We'll keep breaking this open together. Drop a comment. Tell me where you're stuck. Or just say you're still here, still trying. That's enough. See you in the next one.